Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a change maker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Only the Best for You, here on Global Voice Radio. My name is Carol Davies of the Passion Motivator Coaching Company. I'm so pleased each week to share with you the best information and speakers on how you can be a change maker to make the world and yourself the best you can be. Today, I am reporting on how you can plan, relax to the max, and have fun. So, how do you relax to the max and have fun? It really sounds like that's two opposite ideas, really, because planning requires that you need to be very much on top of things, making lists perhaps, and relaxing can be totally the other way. So I'd like to share today some easy practical tips to ensure that you can have fun and enjoy planning stressful times or things that you need to get down to that maybe you haven't really wanted to do. It seems impossible, but we're suddenly at less than 2 months before the festive Christmas season. When I realized this today, my shoulder and stomach muscles tightened automatically as I suddenly thought of all the things I need to plan and do. If you're like me, the times when you feel like you run a marathon for months and months and never stop is almost how I feel. Now, I have never done a marathon, but I tell you, in my mind, I have. I'm much more self-aware these days of how I need to live my daily life with joy and ease. Suddenly, today when I was thinking about less than 2 months before Christmas, I felt myself slipping back into the old behavior pattern of stress and overwhelm as I looked at the big picture and panicked. How am I going to plan the big holiday gathering at my house? Or how will I get my next family vacation planned even? See, I worry about multiple things. I don't just do them one at a time. So does this sound like you? I used to feel dread and joy about not being able to plan for things. And when I finally came across the idea that I could plan, it took a really big weight off my shoulders. See, we have a famous French writer, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." So, do you like to plan? At heart, most of me never used to, but now I do enjoy making a plan for various things and feeling like my world is a bit more orderly and I've got a path to follow. And one of the key realizations I had recently is that I didn't have to do all this alone. See, on the job, I had a team to work with and to share the load. So I thought, well, in the family, why not create a team approach to planning a festive event, a family gathering, or a vacation? I know that feeling I alone was totally responsible to plan and do everything was causing me unneeded stress. I needed to learn that to ask for help is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's a sign of good self-care to ask for help to do more complicated things. Also, when we get the help of others, we are creating a community to interact with others. It seems like our modern society teaches us that we should do everything ourselves. And with technology today, we spend less and less time interacting in person with friends, family, or coworkers. We have far less sense of being part of a group or a sense of community where we can naturally ask for help. It's now almost an unnatural feeling that it is okay to ask for help. We can get far more done with a group helping and supporting us than acting alone like we're on a desert island. So I thought, why not come up with a step-by-step plan to plan your next holiday? Try using project planning techniques that you may already know and implement on your job. So I thought today, what about planning for the next summer vacation? So we all spend most of the year looking forward to that all-important summer break. However, as the holiday approaches, the fretting and panicking begins. Are the passports up to date? Will the suitcases be under that all-important weight limit? Are the airport to hotel transfers arranged? Even once you reach your destination and try to relax, you're faced with dilemmas again. Which restaurant will you eat in? Are you going to go to the beach or pool? How early will you have to get up to reserve the sunbeds for the whole family if you're traveling with the family? Well, I would like to propose 5 simple steps to organize your holiday and make it more stress-free. The first is to define your project objectives. What is it you want from your holiday? Do you purely want time to relax, or do you want thrills and adventure? Make sure you know exactly why you're going on holiday and what you want to get out of it. And it's not a bad idea to write these things down. Next, set your scope. Set your budget and how much you're willing to be flexible with it. We all know that costs on holiday can sometimes spiral out of control if we're not careful. Account for all the possible expenditures you know of ahead of time, such as trips or excursions out, food costs, maybe a special sporting training that you might have, say, at a beach resort. And next, plan an itinerary. Have an idea of what you'll be doing each day. This does not have to be set in stone and followed rigidly. Understand that a trip to a local beauty spot may mean a day away from the beach. So if your intention is to spend most of your time on the beach or by the pool, maybe you don't want to take a side trip, but that's something you have to decide with yourself. And most importantly, don't try to do too much unless being more stressed at the end of your holiday was defined in your project objectives, and I don't think that's the case. And next, manage quality. Now, do you want a place that you do everything for yourself, or would you like a 5-star luxury hotel? Either way, make sure you're getting value for your money. Be aware of the amenities and service standards available. And if they don't meet your criteria, let someone know once you're there. Don't be afraid to complain if service is not up to standard. All too often, we don't want to make a scene when we're on vacation, trying to relax. If you have defined your project objectives, set your scope, and planned, make sure the quality that you're getting is what you deserve. And finally, close your project. Once you're back home, take a look at some of these questions. Were you satisfied with your holiday break? Make a note of what you liked and would do again. What was bad? What was good? Remember this the next time you go to book your holiday. Many of us return to the same resort year in and year out because it's what we know and feel comfortable with. Learn from your mistakes and go somewhere different if the holiday that you planned really wasn't that enjoyable or up to your expectations. There's no problem with changing. In fact, sometimes it takes more courage to do that. Hopefully, you will have a better holiday by following these helpful tips, and you will return to work refreshed and relaxed. Now, next, I'd like to talk about some tips for easily planning family collaboration for getting essential tasks done at home. Remember, a few minutes ago, I mentioned about the team approach. So, if you're in the situation where you live with your family or maybe even with roommates, it's very important to take everyone in the household into account to plan how you're going to get things done in the home. So there's a lot of considerations when you manage a team. You've got logistics, people's feelings, complexity of tasks. When you think about it, this level of management can be implemented with your home team too. There are always so many schedules, school events and practices to juggle. There are vacations to plan, meals to cook, and chores that never seem to stay done. Not to mention that home renovation project you may always have been planning to do for, maybe a few years. So whether it's your family, roommates, or even maybe your bowling league, there are times when traditional management practices can make a big difference for your personal life. That's why it's important to create a plan for each aspect of your family life that you want to make sure it goes smoothly. One is vacation planning. I talked about this just a few minutes ago, but it's really important to put all your trip logistics into one place and get group feedback for itineraries and other things so that you can focus on the important part, relaxing. You can make a very detailed project plan for going on vacation. I'm just giving you a few tips here. Now, the next one that could be important to plan with your home team is if you're going to host a party. Have the logistics planned out ahead of time. This is very, very important, especially if it's a special event, maybe such as a birthday party for one of your children. It's so important to know how many guests will you expect? What sort of food do you plan? Is everything going to be done by you at home? Is it going to be catered to at home or maybe at another venue? Are you going to go outside to another spot like a hotel or restaurant to celebrate the birthday? All these things require different approaches, and you need to discuss these ahead of time, say with the child in question, to make sure that that happy birthday party is going to be really happy. There's nothing worse than planning something and the child is disappointed because you didn't take maybe their wishes into consideration. Now, the other thing is, if this is going to be a surprise party, some of these things, of course, will not apply, but still you should try to make plans that will fit the wishes and characteristics of the person you're planning for. That's so important. And if you put good project management skills into planning this special party, you're going to have a very successful event and a happy person who is being celebrated. Now, the next one I'd like to talk about is meal planning. So, does this sound familiar? You ask your family or maybe your roommates, what would you like to eat? And you get the usual answers. I don't know. What do you want to eat? Well, this is very hard to plan for if nobody knows what they want. So a good thing to do is maybe each week, perhaps on the Sunday, to set set a time aside to plan, figure out how much money do you have, what meals will you be having in the home. Sometimes, you eat out, or there may be activities where you can't eat at home. Mark those all out. And then for the meals that you're going to be at home, decide, well, what things do you have on hand that you can use? What things do you need to buy? And then maybe even try to do a little bit of food preparation ahead of time that you can put in the refrigerator to heat up or to freeze, and then defrost and heat later in the week. This is very important. And try to keep everybody's food preferences in mind too, because these days, not everybody eats all foods. You may have some vegetarians, you may have family members or roommates that have food allergies. You may have ones that prefer to eat no meat, things like that. You've got to keep all these things in mind and not leave it to the last minute, because if you have things on hand and you have thought out things ahead of time, preparing meals each day will become much less stressful and more relaxing for you and everyone combined. And this is also not to say that you should be the only person making the meal. Try to get a rotation in mind and post it up that, whoever's in the family or maybe in the list of roommates, everybody helps out in some way. Maybe if they're older, they could help prepare one meal a week, or they could help with the shopping. There's different things to do to delegate. Don't do it all yourself, because that's when you feel stressed out and put upon, and you're not going to enjoy it. But why should this not be a happy thing to plan for? Because having a very nice meal over a relaxed table where people perhaps are talking is an event we don't have enough of these days. Now, the next thing I'd like to mention is about making a list of how to keep maybe the household functioning with the list of tasks or chores. This is very, very important. And this can be whether you just have a husband and wife or a significant other, family, roommates. You're going to have a shared space, and it shouldn't only be up to you to look after things. Because the first thing to do is maybe to hold a weekly family or group meeting, because you need to find out what are the most important aspects that you need to deal with each week. You will have meal preparation, you will have grocery shopping, you will have house cleaning, you will have laundry. Maybe if you are in a home, you may have outside areas such as gardens or lawns to maintain. And you need to have a schedule posted where everybody knows where they will be expected to contribute. You can put up a list of what needs to be done, and then people could fill in where they would like to help out or where their skills are. That's a good first step. And then anything that isn't filled in, have some discussion, and then either assign more tasks according to the age of people. If you have really small people involved, they may not be up to, doing something regularly, but they could help with something. But as children, if you have a family get older, they can gradually assume a few more tasks that they can help with that are theirs. And you can even encourage them to do it by giving them a paid allowance if that's in your value set, or just, the fact that everybody is there to work to help each other out is a really good work ethic in the family or the group to develop. So you have to make that plan, and It's a good idea to put it into a calendar. Now, these days, most people are connected by technology. So if you're in a household, let's say with parents or caregivers and maybe children, and you need to keep track of activities and who's doing what, it's a good idea for the parents or caregivers to have a digital calendar, perhaps, where everything is centralized. And then every so often, the children can have a look at it as well and make sure that everybody keeps you informed what they're doing or what the deadlines are, class projects, homework, um, outside activities they need to go to. And that includes for the mother, father, or caregivers as well. Everything needs to be in that calendar. And then if you have a calendar and your significant other or spouse has one, try to synchronize those. And then it's also a good idea if you have smaller ones in the family to have a sort of like a whiteboard or a calendar that you can write on, that you can post somewhere and you can put the significant things, and then those who don't have access to the digital calendar can then look at this central written out calendar and keep up to date with what needs to be done, or maybe let you know that maybe something is missing. And it's really important that everybody feels part of this planning process because it keeps things running smoothly. And hopefully, too, you don't end up being the only one who is taking people in the family to appointments or maybe just to sports or to extracurricular activities. It's a good idea to try to share that out too, wherever possible, because that makes us feel very stressed and overwhelmed. But if you use project planning and discussion and group meetings in the family or the roommate situation, it's going to make it much, much easier for you to have a much more relaxed and enjoyable experience living with your group. And I would like to encourage you to get in touch with me if you have any further questions about some of the tips I've given to you, because I work with my clients quite frequently on things like this, and we've had a lot of successes that I could, share with you, different other techniques. What I've given you today is just a sampling to see if, any of these can be helpful to you. And if you would like more ideas or to discuss things further, please contact me at my website, www.thepassionmotivator.com, or by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, you can change your life at any time and become the success you were meant to be. I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.